What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be breaking down the mini rocket conversion kit for the Goblin Mark II in Black Ops 6 multiplayer. This is a brand new weapon mod with the high art event in the free tiers, and with this it totally changes up the damage profile of the Goblin Mark II, and it allows for splash damage as well, so you don't have to hit enemies directly to deal damage to them. So let's dive into our damage, and we're going to start this off with our direct impact damage, so assuming we hit the enemy directly, we're not talking about splash damage here. If you do this, you deal exactly 40 damage anywhere in the body, even the head, you're only going to be dealing 40 damage. And assuming it's a direct hit, this also will apply to flak jacket users. It's the same amount of damage every single time, and therefore it's going to be a consistent 3-hit kill with those direct impacts. When it comes to splash damage, on the other hand, it has a very short range to it at just 1.5 meters, so you have to be hitting really close to your target, whether that's on the ground or a wall next to them. And once again, we're dealing exactly 40 damage. Doesn't matter how close this hits to them. If it hits right next to their foot or at 1.49 meters, it deals exactly 40 damage, unless they're using flak jacket. In this case, if it's not a direct impact, but you're dealing this splash damage, flak jacket will reduce the amount of damage it received down to 26 damage, so it now becomes a 4-hit kill rather than a 3-hit kill. Now, it's also worth noting with this splash damage, you can hurt yourself, so you want to be careful with that. If you're in point-blank situations, or if you strafe around a wall, or a teammate walks in front of you, it can cause you to damage yourself if you're standing within 1.5 meters of that hit. Also, you might notice in the firing range, when you shoot a dummy, you deal 80 damage per shot if you hit them directly, because it's adding the splash damage to the base body damage. But it turns out in real games, direct impacts only deal 40 damage. You don't add splash damage on top of the direct impact damage. It's just 40 damage, period. Now, another key change that comes with using this kit is we do see a rate of fire reduction down to 400 rounds per minute from 600 rounds per minute with the base Goblin Mark II. So quite a significant reduction there, and this means we are killing in 300 milliseconds from the moment the first shot hits with that 3-shot kill. And that's basically just an average assault rifle time to kill. It's nothing too special there. And we can't improve this at all. Headshots don't improve it since we deal the same damage to the head. We can't use rapid fire since we're taking up that slot for the kit itself. And with that in mind, this is far from exceptional when it comes to time to kill. As for our ranges, in-game it states our range is 381 meters, and that is so far beyond the size of these maps in multiplayer, so it's effectively just an irrelevant number there. However, a much more relevant number is our velocity. This is the number one stat that severely holds this back. We only get a velocity value of 150 meters per second, which is just slightly better than the nail gun in this game. And what this means is our hit scan range is only 7.5 meters, and anything beyond that, it becomes very difficult to hit targets directly. If they're strafing back and forth in a gunfight, good luck hitting anything. At that point, you're better off just aiming at their feet. And that's often what I found myself doing while using this kit, is not aiming at enemies directly, because more often than not, it results in a miss. Therefore, I'm just find myself aiming toward their feet, which is really awkward. Now, on top of this, with this very slow bullet velocity, if you are stretching out your ranges and trying to pick people off at a long range, there's going to be a lot of bullet drop as well. You got to aim quite high, and I really just don't recommend trying to use this at range. It's possible you'll get some kills here or there, especially against people that are just standing still. And I mean, at least you're dealing the same amount of damage at any range, but this gun is just not effective at all. Even at mid-range, I wouldn't call it effective if you're playing against people that know what they're doing and implementing movement into their fights. Now, beyond that, one of the things I was excited to test with this is how it fares against enemy score streaks, because you would think with mini rockets coming out of your gun, this should be really good at taking out streaks. So I put it to the test. I first tried shooting a UAV, which I knew was probably going to be pretty difficult. And yes, that is the case. It's quite difficult to hit a UAV in the first place. And even in a controlled environment where I don't have to worry about anybody shooting back at me, I wasn't able to take a UAV down before its duration expired, with a couple of tries at least. I'm sure if I sat there and just kept trying over and over, I could take some UAVs down here or there. But the main point here is it's just not an effective method at taking out UAVs. It does take quite a few hits to take one down as far as I can see. And I would expect, with how difficult it is to hit a UAV, and with how niche this is, I would expect it to only take 1 or 2 hits to take a UAV out, but it takes far more than that. But that's fine, I knew the UAV would be a really long shot, so what about something like a Watchdog Helo? This is something that would be really realistic to want to shoot down with a kit like this, since it's much bigger and it flies a bit lower, so it's easier to hit. And even with that in mind, our damage versus streaks appears to be terrible with this, which I was very surprised to see. I thought this would be quite good at taking these streaks out, but as you can see there very clearly, it's not. You're better off just whipping out an LMG with FMJ. You can take that streak down significantly easier. And I was very disappointed with this. I thought this would be one big reason to use this mini rocket kit, but nope, it sucks against streaks. Don't even bother. Next up, since this is an explosive, what about the trophy system? Does that block these shots? And it turns out, no, the trophy system does not counter this at all. You can shoot straight past the trophy system, no problem. And not only that, it just takes one shot to take out a trophy system when using this kit. So another area you definitely want to be aware of. And that's pretty much it for this mini rocket conversion kit. Overall, when it comes to my thoughts on this weapon mod, unfortunately, I just think it's terrible. I don't really see very many good use cases for it. I would say it's at least usable if you're playing in lobbies where people aren't strafing much or they're not sliding around, they're not implementing movement into their fights. Sure, you can use it, you can find some decent success with it because you can just shoot the ground near them, and that's pretty easy. But the moment you play against anybody that knows what they're doing, this weapon mod becomes immediately useless. You're just going to get destroyed over and over again because they can just dodge your shots with ease and then instantly melt you with a faster time to kill anyway. On top of that, I was really hoping we'd at least have one use case for this, and that is shooting down streaks, but as we just saw, this sucks for that, so it's totally useless in that area. And as a result, I just can't recommend using this. There's no good reason to use this, in my opinion. And that's really unfortunate. At the same time, I can understand playing it safe with a kit like this. I can just imagine if they had a much better velocity on this, for instance, and it were far more effective at hitting its target, it would probably be a little bit too scary because of the consistency combined with the splash damage effect that you're able to deal. So it looks like they decided to play it safe, but I think they played it a little bit too safe on this one, to the point where it's just terrible and I can't recommend it. Now, a little bit of feedback here, just throwing some ideas out there. I think this could do with a little bit more velocity. Obviously, I still think it should be quite a slow velocity relative to normal guns in the game. There's got to be something that holds it back, but that 7.5 meter hit scan range is really, really short. And like I said, if you run into anybody strafing in this game beyond 7.5 meters, which in my experience at least is going to be a whole lot of fights that you run into, you just don't stand a chance against those players. And since our time to kill isn't too ridiculous, if they even doubled the bullet velocity on this, it would still be a very low velocity value, but it would be at least a bit more reasonable to hit your target. Alternatively, if they want to keep the velocity really low, I don't think it would be entirely unreasonable to slightly increase the splash damage radius, because while that would definitely make it more powerful and easier to hit your targets, there's good counterplay to that as well. All you have to do is throw on Flak Jacket if you're running into somebody that's killing you over and over again with this. Now it's going to take them that extra shot to kill, so their new time to kill against you is now 450 milliseconds, which is a painfully slow time to kill that you should be able to easily win against in most gunfights. Additionally, regardless of whether or not they adjust those two elements, I think something that absolutely should be done with this is a pretty significant boost to score streak damage. I think this should have at least some good utility in that area. Plus, it's something that you would expect out of something like this kit, and yet we don't have that power against streaks at all, as we saw. Now, of course, these are just my opinions based on the testing that I've done, as well as my experiences using this. And this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about the mini rocket conversion kit on the Goblin Mark II? Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys think this is pretty bad with essentially zero reason to use it? Or do you disagree? Do you think it's actually decent? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.